Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for some career mode goodness. Now look at all that spam in my inbox, get that crap out of there. But as you guys may have been able to see, the bid for Coutinho from Barcelona, which I counter offered for around 52 million, was accepted by Barcelona. Barcelona have been on it a little bit, they've been sucking a bit of my pipe recently. I think the last person they actually bought was Aubameyang, I want to say. I remember them paying quite a bit of money for one of my previous players anyways. It might have not been Aubameyang, but I'm pretty sure they went ahead and spent a lot of money on this club so far. Bayern Munich were also interested in Coutinho, and then I had a little bit of interest in Kyle Walker, and that was from Chelsea, but unfortunately I wasn't willing to give him away for around 10 million. He's such a great right back so far that I just couldn't do it. And the Coutinho and PSG talks had broken down. PSG also accepted the offer for 52, but the Barcelona and Coutinho, they seem to be getting a little bit cozy, and I decided that it'd be okay for Coutinho to leave on that sort of fee. And it looks like he could be on his way out. So now I was a little bit curious, what's going to happen with that center attacking midfield role. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have been watching when I was speaking a little bit about Jovetic and whether I think he'd fit nicely into a cam role. So it really, by him possibly going away to Barcelona, it really left me with the opportunity to play Jovetic as a center attacking midfielder. And I think it could actually work out really well. I know we've spoken about it a lot in the comments. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. But then that means I need a striker. And look who's being punched into the search right now, Luis Muriel. Now, a lot of you guys, I understand, are new viewers. You may have not been around back in the day when I did a series with QPR. But on this YouTube channel, on this career mode stuff that I do, Luis Muriel is the legend. He is the one. He is the hero that is just a god across all of my career modes. So we have Luis Muriel. I sent in an offer. I just wanted to see, it might not be 100% that he comes to the club, but hey, he's only an 81 overall at the moment, and I know how great he can be. So I decided, why not chuck in a bid and see what can happen. So once that was done, I took a look at the rest of my transfer budget. I still, have a lot of money to spend, 72 million, over 200,000 on the wage budget. Things are looking pretty tidy. Another thing I wanted to look at was a new center defensive mid. If you guys may or may not have seen that that Lucas Leiva could be on his way out. So immediately alarm bells were pinging. I do have MB at the moment, but I really want another defensive mid. As you can see, it's Marseille the ones hunting him down at the moment. So my eyes are certainly set on possibly another defensive mid. MB has been really good. He's been solid, but I don't feel as though he's growing at a really quick rate. Another thing I will like to say, I'm not too keen on Pogba at the moment, mainly because I actually signed him for QPR, and he was good, but my god, dude, that guy was so injury prone. He got injured all the time. Admittedly, he is a solid player, and he certainly has fantastic potential in the game, but I just feel as though, what's the point in having someone who can develop really well, but is constantly getting injured? It just doesn't suit me, and you guys know how much I despise injuries in this game. On a slightly more important note though, guys, we had a World Cup game, and this time it was up against the Argentinian side. Argentina are just packed with class, but that didn't mean Ibarbo wasn't raring to go. I've been playing Ibarbo a lot. I think he's quality. I do have Luis Muriel in this team, but I don't know. I just felt as though Ibarbo performed a little bit better when it came to international situations. Obviously, Falcao had his starting spot. He's just quality as well, but we get the opening goal. Now, if you guys may or may not have remembered, we battered Russia 6-2. We swept aside Italy as well convincingly. So things were looking tasty. We were playing some really solid football, and we had Argentina, I believe, I want to say this is the round 32 or round 16 even, and we were getting pretty far. We were doing a very good job. It might even be the quarterfinals. Don't quote me on this. I am terrible at remembering things, but unlucky there, we weren't able to get a goal. That was one of those things where if it's a player like Falcao, maybe even Ibarbo, that would have been in, but it was actually one of my left midfielders, so things weren't looking too good. But like I said, I managed to get that early lead, but unfortunately they managed to equalize not too long ago, and they ended up getting another goal, and that was through a header. So they were 2-1 up. I was, a little, I want to say struggling. They really started to get a foot in their game, and they started to play much better, especially in the opening few minutes. They were really quite poor, and then there it was from Costa there. He just buries that, and that was a really nice goal. That finishing was magnificent, so fair play to him for that. But I was 3-1 down, and that's, you know, one of the worst positions I'd been in all World Cup, especially for a side like Colombia. I definitely felt as though I'd been playing much better than how it'd been showing in this game, really. But I go with my usual tactic of doing that little layoff. I honestly thought I was in with a goal there, but it wasn't meant to be. And another decent effort, but like I said, it just wasn't going into the back of the net. Some good football, though. Falcao was actually fantastic. It just holding the play up and allowing a little bit of time for players to make runs. And there is that midfielder that actually didn't manage to bury the easy goal, rockets that one past the keeper, and that was actually a really nice finish. So fair play to him for that. I want to say kind of making up for his previous mishaps, because I do, you know, had he had buried that last one, it would have been all tied up. But I needed to make some substitutions, and, you know, something needed to be done, but unfortunately it wasn't enough, and we lose to Argentina 3-2, and that is our World Cup campaign over, which is, you know, it's a shame, and I really wish I had gone past, but I've had some really, really tough games. So when you come up against the likes of Argentina, it is really tough to go ahead and just beat them. But it was a good World Cup campaign. Do you guys think that coming in the quarterfinals, you know, losing out in the quarterfinals is good for Colombia? Do you think they should have gone further? What are your thoughts on it, guys? Do let me know in the comments. But they came back and told me, you know what, we want 17 million for Muriel. We know how much of a legend and hero and god this guy is. So is it possible that you'd be willing to shell out 17 million? And me having a very soft spot for Muriel, I decided I'd counter offer with the 17 million they were asking for. And Gundogan there, he's actually a center midfield player now. It was really interesting because at first I was like, he would be the perfect person to fill in for Lucas Leiva's spot if he does decide to get transferred away. And you know, when I saw that, I was like, he could be really, really good. But then I took a closer look at his stats, and I was like, you know, maybe he's not so strong as a defensive midfielder. Maybe he'd be better as, you know, almost even a center attacking midfielder. So that kind of put me off him a little bit. Well, maybe not off him, I suppose, more off him being as a center defensive midfielder, if you will. And I kind of, you know, slowed down my chase for him because I wasn't so interested in picking up a player like that. But there it is, guys. We managed to send off the personal, the sort of contract things. It'll be interesting to see if he does come back and we get the thumbs up. But guys, that'll be it for today. I hope you did all enjoy this episode, and wait till next episode to find out if we manage to bag Muriel to the club, or does he give us the middle finger and tell us to go and do one. Until then, guys, I'll catch you in a bit. Hope you've all had a cracking day. The sun is out. I just had Papa John's, and that was my first ever Papa John's, actually. I've never had Papa John's before. I give it, you know, I went for the Hawaiian. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a Hawaiian fan. I'll give it, you know, a solid 7 out of 10. I'm going to have to try out a few other ones, but it certainly beats Domino's for me. Until then, guys, I'll catch you in a bit. Have a good day. Bye-bye.